Hey, what's up guys? Colby Cheese here, bringing you another League of Legends tutorial strategy guide, this time featuring Gragas.
Let's get this party started.
Gragas excels at being a long-range nuking champion. He's able to push down lanes very quickly and harass enemy champions even at their own towers. He forces enemy champions to move back behind the tower so that your AD champion can attack the tower, and as soon as somebody makes a mistake, it's
time to roll out the barrel.
And in the case of this enemy Karthus, you're dead, sir. Whoa, let's watch that again. That's a full health Karthus, 2 barrels, your ultimate and your Q, and boom, he's dead. That's the power of Gragas. If you get enough ability power built up on you, you're going to be able to just completely destroy enemy champions' health with a little bit of poke. And this makes it possible for us to win this game by continuing to poke down the enemy team and pushing the enemy tower as we dive, take out the tower, finish off the Nexus, and win the game. Gragas is one super athletic fat bastard who would definitely win the barrel tossing Olympic event, I guess. He could also outrun most champions because he's so damn fat and even trees can't stop him from where he needs to go. He just scoots around along the ground. He's an amazing mid-game champion who excels at poking and initiation, but let's go ahead and get started by talking about his abilities.
Oh yeah!
Gragas' Q is Barrel Roll, which allows you to throw out a barrel at a pretty good distance and detonate it on command, similar to Lux's Lucent Singularity. So the best thing to do with the Q is to try and toss it out in front of your enemy champions or behind them if they're running away, as far out as you can, because it does have a little bit of a slow travel time, and if you're throwing it at max range, then you're going to need to try and follow that up a little bit. Also, if you're in the laning phase with your Q, it's best to just try and harass the minion, kill the minions with it rather than just harass with it, because you're going to run out of mana if you just toss out barrels and don't attack the minions ever. But that's where your Drunken Rage comes into play. So I always take this one second after I level up Q, and Drunken Rage allows you to gain back some of your lost mana, and it reduces the amount of damage you take, as well as giving you a huge attack damage buff. So a huge steroid for Gragas. I always level up W second, even before my E ability. It allows you to lane really well and synergizes with just staying in the lane and farming minions down as much as possible. So here we go. In this clip here, I'm just sitting in the lane, just standing around, just throwing out barrels and stuff like that, and I'm able to toss out quite a few spells, even though my Q costs a lot of mana. As long as I don't toss it out every single time the cooldown's up, I'll be able to use my Drunken Rage to gain back my mana, and I can take a little bit of harass, but at a reduced damage amount, which allows me to just really stay in the lane a really long amount of time. And that's what Gragas excels at, is staying in the lane a really long time, and that's what you want to do. Stay in the lane, farm up. So as far as your early game items are concerned, I like to build early game Gragas and mid game. So I'll go for a Door Ends to begin with and just continue farming until I can go back and buy, possibly another Door Ends and some boots. If you can afford only one item, not your boots, I would get the Door Ends ring. Usually on Gragas, especially if you go mid, you don't really need boots so much because you can stay way far back, throw out your barrels, and you can scoot away if you are in a potential situation of getting ganked. Now, later on in the laning phase, I try and stay in as long as I can without going back after I get that second Door Ends and boots. So if you can, pick up a ward, that'll help you as well if you need some lane control or, map awareness. But you want to try and stay in until you can get that needlessly large rod. And if you have to go back before you can afford a needlessly large rod, you can go ahead and pick up a third Door Ends. That works as well. But the idea is that you want to be able to instantly nuke down the creep waves. At level 9, with your max level Q, you should be able to nuke down the waves without too much of a problem, especially with just a third Door Ends ring item. Now, this is a good time to talk about his passive. His passive, in addition to his Drunken Rage, allows him to stay in the lane, because every time you cast an ability, 2% of your max health is going to be regained over 4 seconds. So you can just sit there, and every time you cast that Drunken Rage and cast out a barrel, you're going to be getting your health back. So when you take poke, it's fine. You can get that back. As long as you don't take a massive amount of damage, then you're going to be able to stay in the lane a really long amount of time. What I like to do is sit in the lane, and if a champion, usually you can see when a champion is going to go and poke in a certain area, try and throw your barrels down in that area, and when they go up to last hit, boom, you can do quite a bit of damage. Those barrels hurt really bad if enemy champions take them. If you're playing against a Gragas, the best advice is when he throws a barrel at you, run towards it, not away from it, because most Gragases are, like I said, going to throw the barrel in the direction you would run away, because that's what you usually expect people to do. So if you don't want to get hit by barrels from Gragas, then run towards them, not away from them. Okay, now the next thing to take a look at is, at first, Some of you may want to be extremely aggressive with Gragas because of the fact that he is really strong. I mean, he does actually have the most damage of pretty much any champion at level 2, other than maybe like a Jax with his Drunken Rage, giving him an immense amount of attack damage, and then he can body slam into somebody for a big amount of damage as well. But essentially, what you want to do is not actually get too over aggressive in the lane. What I do is simply, again, like I said, just farm, farm, farm. And if you're able to poke somebody down, that's great. But don't try and go dive up on them until you see them at an easy killable situation. So once I see that somebody has been poked down far enough that I can easily run up and kill them, that's when I'll make my move. Otherwise, I just stay back and continue killing creeps and try and out-sustain my opponent. Some champions, I'll actually push all the way to the tower. Like, usually I don't recommend you push to the tower, but if you have good map control and stuff like that, I like to push all the way to the tower. Even if you don't even hit the tower, then what I'll do is I'll push all the way to the tower and let the minions push the tower down for me. I do this a lot, especially versus champions like Annie or just anyone who can't push back very fast. If you push all the way to the tower, your minions will eventually kill it, and you'll get the you'll get the tower. And there we go. I just killed that Orianna because she tried to be too close to the tower, so that was a mistake on her part. Gragas' next ability is Body Slam. Now this is what's going to allow you to escape a lot of different situations. He can body slam all over the freaking place. Like, you can go through walls, you can go through trees, and the only thing you can't go through is other minions and enemy champions, because that's what will stop you. So it's great for escaping, and as you can see here, I'm just going to show some footage of me going through different walls and things like that. Some of the thicker walls he has trouble going through. You have to be right up next to it, and there's just certain angles you have to go through. So I recommend if you're in a heat of a battle and you're trying to run away, then make sure that you generally try and go through the shallower walls, the ones that are not as wide. You'll have a better success. Also, you probably saw earlier, I tried to scoot through the race. Obviously, you can't go through the wall if there's a race or something like that, so don't try and scoot through those areas because you'll just get stopped by the minions there. Cool thing about the Body Slam is that it scales both on ability power and attack damage, so it works really well with your Drunken Rage to do lots of damage. I don't max it until last because of the fact that you're not going to be running around body slamming everybody constantly, and you just want to use it for getting away. But anyways, this final ability is Explosive Cast. This is your ultimate, and it's going to give you a huge amount of advantage in lanes. The standard combo, if you're head-to-head with the champion, is to barrel toss into a body slam in their face and then throw out your Q right, point blank range so you can't miss, and just continue chasing them down, and you should be fine. Since your body slam actually slows the enemy champion down, it's really hard for them to get away at that point, and you can generally always pick up a kill if they don't have too short of a distance to run away. The next thing you can do with your ultimate is to throw down a barrel in a spot that is far away from them, and they don't feel as threatened, but then you throw out your Explosive Cask, which tosses them towards your barrel, and then you can detonate your barrel, just like in this case, and I'm able to use my Body Slam to pick up a double kill, and I just barely skate away with the rest of my health, and we're able to pick up Bran. So, sexy time there. On runes for Gragas, what I like to do is go for a straight up ability power page with a little bit of magic pen. So I'll do flat ability power quintessences, magic pen reds, and then ability power level 18 on my yellows and blues. On my Masteries, it's just your standard 9-0-21, picking up the reduced cooldowns and magic pen, nothing out of the ordinary there with the flash cooldown, move speed, all that good stuff. Alright, so let's go ahead and move on to kind of the middle part of the game. Any chance you get and you're able to, try and pick up that blue buff from your enemy jungler. It's going to help you out in an immense amount. The goal here is to just continue farming in your lane until you're able to buy your items. You want to pick up that death cap and your sorcerer boots on top of those 2 Doran's rings that you got in the beginning, and that's going to give you that strong mid game that you were looking for. Huh, what are you doing, Cho'Gath? I think he thought he was going to gank me. I don't think so. That's my kill, sir, and there's the double buff for me. So after that, the next 2 items are going to be kind of dependent on the enemies that you're facing up against. If you're up against heavy magic resist, pick up that Void Staff first. Otherwise, go straight for your Zanyas, and that's going to help you out a lot in situations where you might get caught. You can pop your Zanyas, plus all that extra damage is huge on Gragas. He's got amazing AP ratios in all of his abilities. In this clip here, I saw Annie was heading towards top lane, so I warned them that that was happening. I had pushed out my lane, so it's completely safe for me to do this. I'm not going to lose any health off of my tower. I mess up my ultimate due to her flash, but that's not a problem because we're able to get a nice stun off. I throw out my barrel right in front of where she's going to run, and I get the kill. As you head towards late game, you'll want to pick up your final build, which is going to be Death Cap, Zonya's Void Staff, and eventually a Lichbane. The Lichbane helps out a lot late game, as Gragas does start to fall off late game, where his cooldowns kind of hurt him a little bit, and, you know, where everybody's got a lot of health and magic resist, and having that Lichbane allows you to do a lot of extra damage when you body slam in, boom, hit him for huge damage. You're going to have around 600 AP, 700, something like that, and you'll be just destroying kids left and right. As far as your key bindings are concerned, I think this is pretty important to mention on Gragas. I believe that you should do everything smart cast except for his barrel. And the reason for that is that it's a lot easier, in my opinion, to aim his ultimate with a smart cast, because you just click in the spot where you want to throw that barrel rather than having to aim it, and that takes a lot more time. And you want it to be quick. Another thing to think about when using his ultimate, it's very easy to mess it up, and so if you're playing against a champion that has some kind of a blink ability or anything like that, be sure that you account for that and make sure to think, okay, are they going to blink and throw out your barrel possibly a little bit later, because if they blink and then you throw out your barrel, you're just going to toss them away from your team and you're going to save them. You don't want them to be able to do that. Another thing to think about is you don't want to use your ultimate to throw the tanks towards your team. You would prefer to actually throw their entire team in scattered directions. The best way to actually have his ultimate used is to toss somebody who you want to kill into a spot that would kill them very likely. Another thing to note is that it's similar to Alistar's pulverize, or not pulverize, but his headbutt, in that if you push somebody into a wall, it acts as if it's a slight stun, because they have a small time where they're just stuck against the wall from that force. So if you're trying to chase somebody down, try and knock them against the wall, and they'll be stuck there for just a small amount of time, and it could be long enough for you to pick up a kill or to escape if you're trying to get away. So in this case, I was able to push the Xin Zhao into the wall, and it caused him to just take a little bit longer to get away, or Corky's able to pick up a double kill with the assistance of one of my barrels just at the very last moment. Here we go, we're pushing down this turret, and I'm able to push down the Cho'Gath and do tons of damage to him with my Q, run up and ignite him for the kill. In this case, I'm actually able to throw out a barrel right on the enemy Karthus, because he is just a little bit farther out. He looked like he was going to be safe, but I have so much range that I'm able to just take him out without too much problem. And here we go. In this case, I try to stop them from chasing down my enemy team by slowing them using my body slam. And then, boom, I just keep throwing out as much damage as possible. I do get taken out here, but we're able to clean up nicely as Nocturne comes in with his ultimate, picking up a kill onto that Teemo, and eventually finishing off the Cho'Gath. Another great thing about Gragas is that even though he's an AP champion, he can push towers so well. With the crazy buff that he gets from his Drunken Rage, he can do tons of damage to towers with just a few hits. And here in this case, I'm not able to take the tower as Ezreal comes back from getting his blue buff, but in most cases, people probably run away from the situation, not me. If you're not going to get away, definitely do all your damage. I had my Drunken Rage up, and I know that since Ezreal jumped close to me, I can just run up to his face and boom, knock him out. Here we go. In this point here, I'm able to throw my ultimate. I actually messed it up. You need to be very careful when you're trying to do a combo. You notice that I threw down my barrel, and I was going to pop it and then use my ultimate, but I actually messed up, and I threw my ultimate before popping my barrel, so I didn't do enough damage to get the kill. Luckily, we did still get the kill, though. In this case, I throw out my barrel. Notice how it throws them in about 3 different directions and causes their Udyr to get caught out of position. That's exactly how you want to use your ultimate right now. I was able to save my teammates and put us in a great situation. Not only that, but since their whole team is now split up and they took a ton of damage, instead of chasing them, I decided to go push down this middle tower, and we're able to pick up this middle tower, no problem. Now I want to show you a mistake that I make here, and this is just something standard, making a mistake of judgment. But we're gonna take this tower really low, and as the Lee Sin comes around, try and take a look at my enemy minions. You notice that he takes them down really low, and then boom, he kills them just enough time, and then kicks me out of the way. I should have paid attention to that and run away. So before he got the minions low, because if I had done that, I would have been able to probably pick up like a double or triple kill here and the tower. But instead, we all have to run away at that point. Now here we go. In this fight, we've got great ward coverage, and we got a nice initiate from a Leona. The cool thing about Gragas is that he can just jump all over the wall. So if you're in a situation like this, it's really nice to be at this wall spot, because you can jump over the walls with flashes. There you go, flash over, body slam, take out the pirate with my ignite, and then I'll just stay in the back, wait for my cooldowns to come back up. That's what Gragas does. He's very squishy, so you have to be careful. And what I do is just body slam right back over the wall as my cooldowns come up, and I'm able to pick up the Heimerdinger, no problem. And at this point, now the Lee Sin is now out of position, and I can chase him down, take him out with a barrel, and I believe that the Udyr will get away, because Udyr is ridiculous and I hate him. So other than that, though, that's the thing to think about, is you always want to just kind of stay in the back. Since you are so squishy of a champion, there's not much you can do if you get caught in a bad spot. So try and put yourself, and there we go. I actually made a big mistake there. I wanted to show you that. I threw her out, but I actually body slammed to the spot where she was rather than where she would be. That's another thing to think about, is you want to body slam to where they're going to be if you throw your ultimate. But anyways, the thing to think about is that Gragas is so squishy if you build him this way, which is the right way to build him. It's just like any other AP champion, but you just need to keep that in mind. The cool thing is that he can sustain well. So while he is like squishy and sustain, and he's susceptible to being bursted down, you can take poke and stay alive from that, and you know, come back from it. But there we go. I did a nice bait. We had a little bit of a gank coming in from my teammate, and we're able to take out that Garen when we normally would not have been able to do that. Here we go. In this clip, I'm actually pushing down this tower, and I'm trying to zone them out with barrels. Looks like the Star actually puts himself in a bad spot. I decided to go ahead and throw my ultimate. Probably not necessarily the best target, but luckily he was low enough that I was able to take him out with my ignite, and I can kind of scare this girl away and force her to use her flash, and boom, take out all the minions, and I can get out of there safely while my minions continue to push the turret. And this one here, I'm coming in behind and boom, blow up that pirate, and I actually get afraid. I don't want to die to that Garen because he's doing a ton of damage and he's quite fed in this game actually. So what I do is I flash over, even though I might not have necessarily needed to. The cool thing is that it actually picks me up 2 more kills because they had no idea it was there. So I body slam right back over the wall, boom, big damage, and we're able to chase them down. That's 2 extra kills for our team. And this one here, I just barely get a glimpse of the enemy Lee Sin trying to counter jungle for us, so I immediately run up that direction, slow him down, and pop him right into the wall with that technique I was talking about earlier, where you toss him against the wall with your actual barrel toss, and my ignite just barely finishes him off, even despite having that shield from Morgana. Now over here, I'm able to knock this guy into the wall, doing tons of damage with my ultimate, and boom, I pick up the kill once again. So there's a lot of clips like this on Gragas. The main thing to think about is that when you're in team fights like this, you want to try and throw your barrels out, and if possible, kill the enemy creeps and do the most amount of AoE damage possible, because you can just really devastate enemy teams by throwing out 1 or 2 barrels. You put them in a situation to where they have to decide, okay, do we want to stay here with our entire team like half HP, or do we want to be? And at that point, as they start to beat, you want to start chasing them down. You want to, you know, either flash or body slam forward and toss one of them back into your team, and that's how you're going to win the game. You poke them low, and then you just toss one back into your team. That's what you need to think about. And if you're playing with the Gragas on your team, you generally don't want to just go instantly run up and start initiating on the enemy team. Let your Gragas poke them down. It's kind of like playing with an Italy. You throw out those spears, and you try and poke them low, and you just keep yourself healed up and sustained, and eventually they're going to get low enough that they either have to leave and they lose their tower, or if they try and defend it any further, they're going to be susceptible to getting dove at that point. But since Gragas does have those cooldowns, he can't just instantly go in and insta-give everybody unless he's like so super fed, which a lot of the cases you are going to be fed, and not necessarily just from champion kills, but from the fact that you're going to have ridiculous amounts of farm. The entire game on Gragas, you should just be destroying every single creep wave literally instantly, and that's what makes him so strong, is that you can get ahead in creep farm even if you're behind as a team. Like, let's say they're pushing you to your towers, you can literally move from one lane to the next, killing entire creep waves, and then jump right back over the wall and get back extremely easily. And that's the power of Gragas, is being able to be so extremely mobile and have such a devastating impact on the enemy team by splitting them up with your awesome ultimates, and just by forcing them to take massive amounts of damage if they stay grouped up. Now here's an example where I have to use my Zhonya's, and I'm almost dying from this Morgana. She does a lot of damage, but I'm able to use my Zhonya's just to stay alive. Boom, flash out, and no problem, I'm good to go. Here we go. This is going to be a nice little Baron fight. I'm going to try and steal it, but unfortunately I don't do it fast enough. I wait just a little bit too long, and I throw out my barrel right here, and usually you can steal Baron very easily because of your huge burst, but look at all the damage I do to the enemy team. I take them so low, and Stonewall comes in on Nasus to try and pick up that kill. Look how low they are. Boom, I throw out another barrel, and almost their entire team, just from me alone, is about to die. That's how strong Gragas is, and even though they picked up that Baron, we're going to take a couple of kills. Doom! I take out Miss Caitlyn there. There goes Leona, and man, so they turn that Baron against themselves just from the fact of getting hit with like 2 barrels from me as a whole team, and then one casket toss, and that's what's going to take him out. So here's another early game clip, and I'm playing against an Ani, and a cool thing to do against an Annie is right after she does her burst, or right before she does her burst, is to just toss out your body slam. If you know she's going to stun you, just body slam right into her face, because yes, you'll be stunned, but she's going to be slowed, and she can only run away at that point, and then you can start auto-attacking her, because you can do a lot of damage, especially if you popped your Drunken Rage, and then boom, in that case there, Annie got a little too aggressive, I was able to take her out really easily. Anyways, guys, that's my Gragas guide. Hopefully you learned something today, and if you want to pick up Gragas, he's definitely a fun champion to play and worth your purchase. And with that, I'll leave you guys with a little bit of a montage section where you can check out some more cools from Gragas, as well as a sweet song that my roommate made for me. And be sure to hit that like button, put this on your favorites bar, tell your friends about it, and I'll see you guys around for the next one next week when I do the champion first impressions for whatever the new champion is going to be. I'll see you guys around next time. This is Colby Cheese. Peace out. Well, that's it for now, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you around for the next one. So it's time to go back to the base and get me some Graggy. Actually, I think I'll get one more kill.
Yeah! Get some.